A Course in Miracles. Lesson 169. By grace I live. By grace I am released. Grace is an aspect of the love of God which is most like the state prevailing in the unity of truth. It is the world's most lofty aspiration, for it leads beyond the world entirely. It is past learning, yet the goal of learning, for grace cannot come until the mind prepares itself for true acceptance. Grace becomes inevitable instantly in those who have prepared a table where it can be gently laid and willingly received, an altar clean and holy for the gift. Grace is acceptance of the love of God within a world of seeming hate and fear. By grace alone, the hate and fear are gone, for grace presents a state so opposite to everything the world contains that those whose minds are lighted by the gift of grace cannot believe the world of fear is real. Grace is not learned. The final step must go beyond all learning. Grace is not the goal this course aspires to attain. Yet we prepare for grace in that an open mind can hear the call to waken. It is not shut tight against God's voice. It has become aware that there are things it does not know, and thus is ready to accept a state completely different from experience with which it is familiarly at home. We have perhaps appeared to contradict our statement that the revelation of the Father and the Son as one has been already set. But we have also said the mind determines when that time will be, and has determined it. And yet we urge you to bear witness to the Word of God, to hasten the experience of truth, and speed its advent into every mind that recognizes truth's effects on you. Oneness is simply the idea God is, and in His being, He encompasses all things. No mind holds anything but Him. We say God is, and then we cease to speak, for in that knowledge, words are meaningless. There are no lips to speak them, and no part of mind sufficiently distinct to feel that it is now aware of something not itself. It has united with its source, and like its source itself, it merely is. We cannot speak, nor write, nor even think of this at all. It comes to every mind when total recognition that its will is God's has been completely given and received completely. It returns the mind into the endless present, where the past and future cannot be conceived. It lies beyond salvation, past all thought of time, forgiveness, and the holy face of Christ. The Son of God has merely disappeared into His Father, as His Father has in Him. The world has never been at all. Eternity remains a constant state. This is beyond experience we try to hasten. Yet forgiveness, taught and learned, brings with it the experiences which bear witness that the time the mind itself determined to abandon all but this is now at hand. We do not hasten it in that what you will offer was concealed from Him who teaches what forgiveness means. All learning was already in His mind, accomplished and complete. He recognized all that time holds and gave it to all minds that each one might determine from a point where time was ended when it is released to revelation and eternity. We have repeated several times before that you but make a journey that is done. For oneness must be here. Whatever time the mind has set for revelation is entirely irrelevant to what must be a constant state, forever as it always was, forever to remain as it is now. We merely take the part assigned long since and fully recognized as perfectly fulfilled by Him who wrote salvation's script in His Creator's name and in the name of His Creator's Son. There is no need to further clarify what no one in the world can understand. When revelation of your oneness comes, it will be known and fully understood. Now we have work to do, for those in time can speak of things beyond, and listen to words which explain what is to come is past already. Yet what meaning can the words convey to those who count the hours still, and rise and work, and go to sleep by them? Suffice it then that you have work to do to play your part. The ending must remain obscure to you until your part is done. It does not matter, for your part is still what all the rest depends on. As you take the role assigned to you, salvation comes a little nearer each uncertain heart that does not beat as yet in tune with God. Forgiveness is the central theme that runs throughout salvation, holding all its parts in meaningful relationships, the course it runs directed, and its outcome sure. And now we ask for grace, the final gift salvation can bestow. Experience that grace provides will end in time, for grace foreshadows heaven, yet does not replace the thought of time, but for a little while. The interval suffices. It is here that miracles are laid, to be returned by you from holy instants you receive, through grace in your experience, to all who see the light that lingers in your face. What is the face of Christ, but his who went a moment into timelessness and brought a clear reflection of the unity he felt an instant back to bless the world? How could you finally attain to it forever, while a part of you remains outside, unknowing, unawakened, and in need of you as witness to the truth? Be grateful to return, as you were glad to go an instant, and accept the gifts that grace provided you. You carry them back to yourself, and revelation stands not far behind. Its coming is ensured. We ask for grace and for experience that comes from grace. We welcome the release it offers everyone. We do not ask for the unaskable. We do not look beyond what grace can give. For this we can give in the grace that has been given us. Our learning goal today does not exceed this prayer. Yet in the world, what could be more than what we ask this day of him who gives the grace we ask, as it was given him? By grace I live. By grace I am released. By grace I give. By grace I will release. Lesson 169. By grace I live. By grace I am released. You believed the wrong delay. What if grace is happening now? A man sits alone in a train station. One suitcase, one ticket, one platform, one clock hanging from the ceiling. That clock has become his entire world. Every few minutes he looks up. Not yet. A few moments later he looks again. Not yet. Then again. Not yet. He checks the ticket, checks the platform number, checks the clock, checks the ticket again. Hours pass this way, waiting, watching, measuring, calculating, wondering when it will finally happen. Then a strange thought enters his mind. What if I am waiting for something that has already arrived? He looks up from the clock for the first time, and there it is. The train, not approaching, not arriving, not coming soon, already there. The doors are open. The conductor is waiting. The destination has already been printed on the ticket in his hand. And suddenly he laughs. All this time he thought he was waiting for the train. The train was waiting for him. That's what this lesson feels like. Not because grace is arriving, because grace never left. Think about it. The lesson says grace is beyond learning, yet somehow the goal of learning. That sounds impossible until you realize that learning isn't creating anything. The passenger never creates the train. He never builds the tracks. He never chooses the destination. He never writes the ticket. All of that was already done before he sat down on the bench. His only task is to stop staring at the clock long enough to notice what has already been given. Aha! Maybe grace is not something earned. Maybe grace is what remains when the waiting stops. Maybe grace is what remains when the mind finally looks away from the clock. Not yet. Later. Soon. One day. Those are the numbers on the ego's clock. The hands never stop moving. The promise never arrives. The future never becomes now because the future's only purpose is to remain future. And yet the passenger keeps checking. Am I there yet? Am I healed yet? Am I awake yet? Am I enlightened yet? Am I free yet? Yet. Then something extraordinary happens in this lesson. The station disappears for a moment. The clock disappears. The platform disappears. Even the passenger disappears. The lesson says, God is. And then we cease to speak. What else could be said? What announcement could improve upon that? What explanation could add to that? God is. And then silence. The kind of silence that existed before the first clock was built, before the first story was told, before the first measurement of time was invented. God is. And then there are no more departures to announce, no more arrivals to anticipate, no more future to chase, only what is. The lesson goes even further. It says there are no lips to speak the words, no separate mind standing apart from truth to describe it, no passenger looking at the train from across the platform, no observer and observed, no distance at all, only oneness, only what is. Then comes the line that changes everything.
The journey is done. Done. Not nearly done. Not mostly done. Done. The destination was never uncertain. The ticket was never incomplete. The train never lost its way. The passenger merely forgot to look up. And that's why the lesson keeps returning to time. Because time is the disguise delay wears. Delay says later. Grace says now. Delay says keep waiting. Grace says look up. Delay points to the clock. Grace points to the train. Then comes one of the most beautiful images in the entire lesson. What is the face of Christ but his who went a moment into timelessness and brought a clear reflection of the unity he felt an instant back to bless the world? Wow. Imagine one passenger finally boarding the train, only for a moment, only long enough to see that the destination was real all along. Then he returns to the platform, not to convince anyone, not to argue with anyone, not to preach to anyone. He simply sits back down on the bench, and something is different. His face is different. His eyes are different. His peace is different. The fear is gone. The urgency is gone. The frantic checking of the clock is gone. He knows something now that cannot be explained. The train is real, and those who see him begin wondering what he has seen. That is the witness. That is the blessing. That is the face of Christ the lesson speaks of. Someone who stepped beyond time for an instant and returned carrying a reflection of what cannot be put into words. Then comes another surprise. The lesson says to be grateful to return. Return? Why return? Because there are still passengers staring at the clock. Still passengers checking their tickets every few minutes. Still passengers convinced the train has not arrived. And so you return to the platform carrying the gift you received. Not because others are separate from you, but because they are not. The blessing you extend returns to the one who gives it. The gift you offer is the gift you keep. The light you share is the light you see. And suddenly the title reveals itself. You believed the wrong delay. You thought grace belonged to the future. You thought release was scheduled for another day. You thought awakening was waiting somewhere farther down the track. But the train was already here. The ticket was already written. The journey was already done. And grace was never arriving at all. Grace was what remained when you finally stopped checking the clock. By grace I live. By grace I am released. By grace I give. By grace I will release.